we have two guests, and in a minute they will be introduced to you. If you have any questions, you are all questions are welcome, so please do share them with us. Either just write them down or ask them in person. So I guess now it's the best time to introduce our first speaker. Ferry, the floor is yours. Could you introduce?
Yeah, please. Thanks, Joanna. And I would like to welcome all to our fifth webinar. And we have two important speakers tonight. The first one is Ali Şükrü Özbay. Dr. Ali Şükrü Özbay holds his BA in English Language and Literature from Ankara University and MA from Karadeniz Technical University Applied Linguistics Program and PhD from the English Language and Literature Department of the same university, which is Karadeniz Technical University. His main areas of interest include corpus linguistics and learner corpora, translation studies, listening comprehension strategies, academic writing, and error analysis and phraseology. He has published research articles and book chapters on corpus linguistics, phraseology, data-driven learning, meta-discourse, semantic prosody, and lexical priming. He is contributing to BITAC project on the use of corpus tools in language education, 2021. And Assistant Professor Dr. Özbay is currently the department coordinator of Erasmus exchange programs and a faculty member at Karadeniz Technical University. Okay, Dr. Özbay, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, and thank you for the nice introduction, dear Dr. Kılıçkaya. Thank you.
So, Dr. Özbay, now the mic and of course, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Many warm thanks for your presence, the audience. I would like to offer my warm thanks to Dr. Kılıçkaya and dear Yana for giving me this opportunity to talk to in that community. I know that so far we have been given lots of interesting webinars by in that community, and personally I benefit a lot from this line of thought as well as the topics covered in these webinars. Hope that you will like our presentation, also enjoyable and relevant to your needs, first of all. Well, basically this is a joint presentation with Zehra Gürsoy, who's currently working on meta-discourse markers and EFR learners with a large corporate that we have compiled over the 6 years. She will be making a short demonstration about modality, sense structures, and how we can use those modalities in AntConc corpus tools. And she will exemplify what we can do with the AntConc tools. I see that there are several user guidelines that gives us detailed information about AntConc. We have also prepared a user guideline, which is simpler in nature and which is Turkish and English at the same time. So I will be sharing those guidelines in the rest of the webinar. Also, we will be sharing, as Zehra will share, which is our corpora that we have used for this particular webinar. Rather than giving technical information about AntConc, which already exists on the internet in many sites, as well as the user guideline that we have prepared also gives a technical information about AntConc. Let's try to upload a corpus and see what we can do for the grammar activities. But for all such things to happen, though, I need to share my screen, I know. If you give me a few seconds, I will do so here. So I think my screen is now shared, and this is my PowerPoint presentation. This is also my AntConc. I will try to share it on the page if it works. Okay. So on the one hand, I have PowerPoint presentation. On the other hand, I have AntConc page. It's a blank page. We are going to show how we can use this blank page into a very fruitful and in technical and effective grammatical grammar lessons. Also, I have a course plan like this. I just keep it somewhere like this here. First of all, I would like to start from my PowerPoint presentation, which is very short. It gives you introduction information about AntConc, the rationale, the basics of AntConc, as well as what's so special about AntConc, Wordsmith, or Sketch Engine Corpus tools whenever we are learning and we are talking about language learning and language teaching here. First of all, sorry. Okay, by the end of this webinar, we hope that you will be able to the best of our knowledge and to the best of our capability and competence here, you will be able to create, download, or upload a corpus of text, conduct concordance search, identify patterns surrounding a particular word or grammatical unit, use other search queries with AntConc, which is the very easy stuff here, look at statistically significant differences in the use of conditions and modalities. Modalities will be presented by Zehra. I will be talking more about conditions for this small short webinar, and we will be talking about making multimodal comparison using corpus linguistic methods here. So let me continue with this way. First of all, before speaking about all such AntConc, Sketch Engine, and Wordsmith stuff here, I want to talk to you about a dimension which I have recently developed. This is what I call teacher-student technology and classroom dimension. The audience, why I'm talking about this will be, you will understand why I'm talking about this for a short while. First of all, before again speaking about AntConc, I would like to show you a picture. The picture that you can easily comment on. I will be very happy if on the chat box you make some comments about the picture. This picture, actually you have 1 minute to make this comment here. What does the picture tell us is the first question that you are supposed to make comment about this. What do you understand from this picture here? What is the relevance of this picture with our topic, AntConc used in grammar terms here? What is the problem? If you see any problem in the picture, maybe you can share this problem shortly on the chat box and a viable solution to this problem and how. Very easily, very easy, and with no more than 2 minutes, let's make this one here. I want to show you the picture here. The picture is this. Okay. By the way, the picture is this. My very simple question is this. What is happening in the picture? A teacher, a student, a ladder, seemingly, and a classroom setting can be seen in this picture here. So what is the relevance of this picture with our topic today? What happens in this picture? Can you make very short comments about this on the chat box? And I would like to see them so that we can, you are not seeing the picture yet? You see the picture right now? Okay. Okay, I have already, I think, okay, stop share and let me share it again. Now I hope you will see the picture. You see it right now? You see it right now? Ferit Hocam, you see the picture right now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. We see the picture.
Okay. So what is happening in the picture? You see that there's a teacher trying to reach for help.
Okay.
Yes, trying to reach for help. Students in the classroom as a ladder, waiting right in the right-hand side. Without use, and a classroom sitting here. I wish you could talk. You could have been talking about this picture, but maybe a teacher should use a letter. Yes, okay. Yes, Tamari, you're right. I should know. Maybe a teacher should use a letter. Okay, this is okay. Okay, we are muted. Okay, I know that you are muted, Tamari. That is why you can write. Okay, cameras off. Ferit Hocam.
Okay, so can I explain something? Of course, because of the security, all the webcams and webcams are off and microphones are muted. But if you would like to contribute orally, so you can just send a message to me, and I can unmute you, and also I can turn on your webcams. Okay. Right.
The audience, you don't need to talk. You can just write your comments, your short but very relevant and very interesting comments on this here, right? For example, the teacher is trying to help the student, but she's using long way instead of using letter. Yes. Okay, yes. I'm still waiting for another 30 seconds for your valuable comments about the picture here. It is seen that there's something wrong in the picture, right? Yes. the setting is not proper. Yes, this is also the case. Ignore says the solution is right, but if we don't know how to benefit from it, okay, it is useless. Okay, Ignore, you're right for time being here. The teacher is trying to help student, but she's long way. Okay, another comment other than these? Oh, okay. Okay, I guess you already get the message in this picture here. The teacher has the right solution. She does not want to use it. Yeah, okay. This is a yet another proper comment about the picture here. The teacher is trying to, as much as we see that the teacher is trying for help, trying to reach out, to reach the student. The student is doing the same thing here, but there's a problem. Judging by the picture, it becomes virtually impossible for them to reach their hands together here. It is impossible unless otherwise or without using a tool. I think the ladder here is a symbolic piece, right? For those who see what kind of symbolization is done here, maybe you can share it in the chat box again. What does the ladder symbolize here? The ladder symbolizes this what? Maybe you can just give the word on the chat box so that we understand. Okay, those of you already who have written something here, I try to follow your messages, but okay, for the right, for the development, material, good, good, great. Anyone else would like to contribute in this one? Okay, the letter is symbolizing the material, the development, the right methodology, the tool, you're right. So in relation with what we are talking about today here, we can relate this letter like an AntConc or sketch engine or like a lunchbox or like a wordsmith tools, right? Those tools definitely act as a ladder. They help us reach out our learners in many ways, in many good ways, in many effective ways, right? Unless otherwise using such tools, you see why the teacher, the classroom is like a well, is like a cave. The student looks desperate and the teacher is trying to do his best, basically, and seemingly to reach out the learners, but it is not so easy, as you may easily see here. So we should be using some tools which establish bridges with ourselves and with our learners, right? So AntConc or similar tools can best be used for this purpose, right? So this was as a short presentation. I just try to focus your attention on the need to use some effective tools in language classrooms, right? What's happening between a teacher, a student in a classroom setting should be discussed by the incorporation of some tools, effective tools, books may be tools, right? Also electronic devices, technology may be yet another effective and most influential tools. AntConc is a small tool, but maybe very effective if you use it at the right time for the right reason here. Thank you for your cooperation and interest for this picture here. And I skip the next page here. First of all, if we want to talk about AntConc, we should be knowing that if we want to talk about corpus tool, any corpus tool in any way, we should be knowing that we should be talking about that we have some three categories of corpus exploitation. We can exploit this tool in three different ways. First, we can teach about corpus linguistics. It all started with this premise here. Then we can teach to exploit corpus resources to our learners. And we can teach students, our learners, how to exploit those corpus data and corpus resources here. Anyway, it is very likely that any hands-on practice will be a combination of some of these three categories here, right? On the one hand, we should be teaching ourselves the corpus tools. On the one hand, we should be teaching how to exploit those corpus resources for the learners. Yet on the other hand, we should be trying to spend some energy to teach those students how to exploit, how to use those corpus data effectively. From this, we can go to constructivism. From this, we can go to inductive learning. From this, we can consider our learners as language discoverers, as detectives who discover new things about language here, right? Remember that our learners may not be good at English, but one thing, I am sure that they are good at technology. So we can, as usual, this is not something new, I know it. This is a already very old consensus right now here that they can use technology. AntConc is a very simple technology, but they can transform this, they can use it, they can put it into this AntConc into very effective usages at times whenever necessary. For example, from the grammar dimension, we can use AntConc. There are some other dimensions as well here. So I skip. First of all, we are using AntConc or other corpus tools in order not to teach, but raise their consciousness towards the task at hand. We have to take the subject from this dimension here also, right? It's not for design for sheer teaching something, it is for giving them consciousness, trying to raise their consciousness towards the topic. It may be grammar, it may be reading, it may be any topic related to language learning and language teaching material here. Also, we need to corpus try to foster the creativity and self-discovery learning. Okay. Also, as learners, as language teachers, we need to create opportunities to facilitate their self-discovery learning in the classroom, right? It's a means of facilitating creativity and self-discovery. It's a means of creating opportunity in the classroom where students can use this technology with their peers and try to discover something new. Maybe it may be a problem new, okay? But in time, when the correct and when the right occasion is given to those learners, I think they will do something much better, right? It will surprise you in many cases and for many reasons here. For the reasons completely understandable, these surprising cases may be seen only after we create opportunity. We give them we give them chance to do something more, right? Also, we need to rely on inductive approach. Okay, you're expecting to see AntConc pages, which are 2 or 3 pages away here, right? But we are using inductive approach. Inductivity in this process here is very important. From a very small amount of information, from even very simple and minor example, our learners can jump to a better conclusion and try to generalize the whole subject, right? I personally support this inductive methodology in the language classrooms, corpus-based language classrooms, in other words here. So if you more slide here, this is the corpus linguistic with AntConc label here, right? We have just used a graded reader corpus intermediate level. We'll be talking about pre-intermediate level, or some way it is between pre-intermediate and intermediate level course, 15 minutes, and so on, okay? First of all, in this short introduction, the focus will be on AntConc software, I know, because AntConc software is the main rationale behind using this AntConc software is that using technology can increase motivation and decrease their level of boredom in learning. This is the best premise, as you may easily remember from the history, from the literature, that technology has potential to give them a different freedom area here. AntConc software is a freeware multi-platform tool for doing corpus and data-driven linguistic research. Here, I'm not going to speak about data-driven, which is the topic of another webinar, for example. AntConc also, which has been used by translators, language teachers, and learners around the world, has several tools. We will be showing those tools in a short while that language teachers can use in preparing classroom materials, as well as students can use them as part of their conscious raising activity. Okay, basic tools. We will, for today, on the AntConc page, I will be using concordance tool and clusters, and Zehra will be using clusters, engrams, and word list, right? We got other options as well, but for the grammar teaching, the best and the most possible and most viable tools are concordance tool and cluster tools, right? AntConc is one of the several concordance software programs like Chrome, Firefox, iPhone, or Android. They have each strengths, and everyone has their own preferences in the corporate. We'll be talking about these preferences in the second part of the webinar here. It works with the plain text files. Fortunately, we have a plain text file converter, and we can easily turn and transform any file into text file here. It will read and is XML files saved on the TXT files. Anyway, it is a technical something here. This is a very rough, this is a very familiar picture of concordance tool, right? AntConc here, but I'm going to show you the real picture right now here. Okay, first of all, can you, and if you have internet connection still good and sound and safe, I will be happy if you go to this page and if you download this version of AntConc into your computer if you like, or you can watch it. I have all the presses, I have all the tables waiting to be presented here. But if you like, you can go to this page and you can upload this version of AntConc, which works best in our computers here, right? When you do so, okay, you will see, and when you open the AntConc page, you will see a blank page, something like this, right? On the right-hand side, the file section here, I will show you how we can download here. Let's, before speaking about the next material, I want to talk to you about preliminary research results. But before that, let's talk about AntConc. Sorry. Okay, this is the AntConc blank page. I hope that you see this page right now here, right? You see it right now. There's a blank AntConc page on the screen right now. I have changed it. You see it? Oh, okay. Maybe you can write something. Okay, great, great. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so it may seem a very easy tool. It is a very easy tool, by the way, here. All we have to do is remember that there's concordance section here. We have concordance plot, file, weave, cluster, engram, collocate, word list, and keyword list, right? These are different functions, right? All we have to do first is to click on the file section and open file section. When you have this open file section, right? The AntConc automatically sees only text files in your computer, if any, of course. If you already downloaded or transform your files into text files, the AntConc will automatically see, track it down here, like his here. This is a graded corpus that I selected from the intermediate, upper, pre-intermediate and intermediate level of graders here. So, and if you select all such, first click, if you select all these files, and if you click on here, they suddenly, easily, quickly uploaded into our AntConc corpus tool here. Now we have all the files which were already transformed into text files before the webinar starts, and now with the file section and with the open file section, I have uploaded, sorry, all the file, all my corpus into AntConc page, right? From this time on, right, we had to go to the lesson plan. I have also prepared a lesson plan. This is a very general type of lesson plan, right? In this plan, I have tried hard to incorporate some AntConc-based activities here, but it is based on your skill. It depends on your skill that you can use this AntConc page for a very different way, in very skillful way, right? Much better than me, actually, in your class when you have time here. The basic concordance tool is something like that. For example, if you are talking about conditional, right? So the first thing that you remember with conditional is if conjunction here. If in the search term box, if you write this term, and if you click on concordance section, you will see with the starts, of course, whole bunch of sentences. Okay, that takes some time, I suppose, more than 300. Okay, the corpus tool, the more than 3,000 hits were kept here, were brought here, right? If you see from the beginning, okay, if a beautiful bird, the first thing, when you have open AntConc page and when you have uploaded and downloaded this concordance line in front of your eyes here, the first thing that you need to do is to make observation. Observation, plain observation, simple observation, right? In time, you get more experience in making this kind of observations. You are trying to establish some networks. You are trying to establish some relations and similarities between the concordance pages here. But for a novel learner, for a novice learner who almost know nothing about how this AntConc stuff works here, when they open this concordance page, all they can do is to make observation. Of course, if this observation is done in a pair with his friend or friends in a discussion mood, I think the observation will pay off for some time here, right? If you might see that if a beautiful bird, if a boxer, if a camel, if it go all the way down to the concordance line, at some time others, it changes if all the subjects and the subject pronouns changes here. Still, if you go downward, you will see if any structures are seen here in this structure here. For a student who is careful enough to see the subtle differences between words, head words, and conditional or any grammar topic, I think this simple pages will be more than enough, right? They will observe, they will see the differences, they will see the similarities, they will see some networks, as long as they kept on looking and trying to understand, trying to rationalize this concordance line. At first sight, they may be lost. For some time later, I hope that they try to establish some links, and they try to establish some meaning. They try to create some meaning out of this simple concordance lines here. You see, if anything, structure group, it begins here. It is interesting that after if anything happen words is used frequently here. So if anything happens, maybe a word combination, right? So we are talking about collocation, support word constructions, multi-word constructions, and prosodic meanings of the word in English. We are all teaching our learners from the phraseological perspective here. If you want to talk about multi-word constructions within the grammar topic, right? This is what we call lexical grammatical patterns. If anything happened, maybe a perfect example. Who wants more than this, right? And you get perfect examples with different tenses and different structures here, right? Or at one time you start teaching with the conditional, at other time you end up with teaching something else, right? But it may be distracting. You may sometimes change your topic, you may sometimes change your focus, but the learners will always see that if anything had happened, just one frequency example here, if anything happened, it goes on and on and on, and after some time it changes if anything happens. So there is a structure here. Okay, this is not conditional, I know. This is a multiple patterns, I know. Lexical combination, whatever you see, but you cannot separate them, right? Quite in line with the English lexicalization. Even this very simple example can hint our learners some of the undefined aspects of lexicology here, multiple construction, the existence of this construction here within the conditional grammar teaching here. Anything, if you go all the way down the page, you will see if Bob, if different names and different, you will be more interesting. We will have more interesting result in that, but there are more than 3,000 samples here, so it is virtually impossible to see all of them. That is why, let me skip to my tables. So the first preliminary research result with if. By the way, you hear me, everybody hears me. For a moment, I felt I am lost and nobody hears me anyway. Can you just write something down on the checkbox so that you hear me, my voice is okay? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Great. I'm so happy that you are still there and listening to me here. Thank you for your motivation this way here. I have already made some tables for you, the audience here. For example, I just try to understand with how many subject pronouns in my corpora if conditional is used, first of all, only to find out that if you subject pronoun is used most. So based on our corpora, of course, it depends on your corpora. What kind of corpora is using also determines your frequencies, your findings or results, your conclusions or limitations, whatsoever here, right? But I believe that our corpora, which is based on grade intermediate level graded reading, more than I think 60 or 70 words graded reading were included in this corpora here. I'm going to share my corpora with you as soon as possible. I think Zehra must have done it already. Or should you please, Zehra, share our corpora with the audience if they like. If and you complementation has been used more and more. This is the most frequent if and subject pronoun complementation in this picture here, if you, for example. So it is quite easy that whenever you give example from the conditioner with if and with the you subject pronoun, it's a better start for them, right? Because it is used mostly the frequency. The frequency does not always give us what is most important, the most important thing. But in many cases, we definitely have to follow the frequency data. The frequency data will show us what is mostly used, what is most common in language, as the name suggests here. So if an subject pronoun has been used for more than almost 800 times here, if he and it subject pronouns also have a considerable frequency in the data here. So if I, the first person pronoun, only use in a half number here, slightly more than 200. If they and if we, so we should start. Based on this table, I think if we want to give example from the conditionals, we should start from if and you subject pronoun, because this is mostly what happens in language. Although we don't have to do so always, but if you follow frequency data, I think we will be doing something good. If you look at the other tables, I have made two more other tables for you. For example, I just ask myself a question: what are the first 15 or 10 or 15 words that are complemented with if in the corpora, only to find out that if you want is the most frequent. So we can start from if you want with the example, give an example to our learners. That's why I have just made this table here. If you are some way, it's maybe also an auxiliary verb here. If you think, if you go, it goes down all the list somewhere like this. But as I see, these are the most frequent patterns that are used in our corpora with if conditional here. From the modality section, Zehra will be talking more about this modality section here, but it was our out of the curiosity, we made this small and simple search only to find out that if you can is the most frequent usage pattern that is used in the if conditional sections here. Let me click on this. Okay, so I think let's go back to AntConc page. Additional information is from this page on in my PowerPoint. I have just made some additional information, and if I have enough time, which I don't think so, I will make in this initial. I will be sharing this information. But if I don't have time, I will send this to you. Right? No problem about it. So let's go back to our simple but somewhat and some way integrated, AntConc integrated course plan here, right? Remember that we were teaching conditional types 0 and 1, right? We start. Our purpose at the beginning of the lesson is to teach conditional types 0 and 1, but it depends on our corpora. What kind of example can be and will be given in the corpora will determine actually the rate and the course of the lesson here. And we have graded reading corpus. We have compiled this corpus, and our grammar topic is conditional 0 and first types, and the level is between pre-intermediate and intermediate. You can increase the level, you can decrease the level, no problem about it. You can easily work. AntConc easily works with even with elementary level learners based on the very simple examples here, right? First of all, at the beginning of the lesson, we have a teacher instruction. Okay, the instruction is something like that. Okay, remember that we talk about inductive learning. We are trying to, we hope that our learners are motivated, eager to achieve something better, and they're good at technology and other stuff here. By the combination of all such motivating factors, we hope that they will try to find out, upload AntConc into the computers and try to make some simple searches about it, right? In terms of the inductive dimension here. So I simply would ask my learners to upload the assigned corpus, okay, to the computers and choose the target grammar structure from the concordance in AntConc X. I told you before. So we have some target structures. We give them no target structure. We just give them the label, right? Without filling in, right? So they now know that there must be two kinds of if structures, right? They don't know what are these, but they know that there are two kinds of structure in the text. They are supposed to find two kinds of different structures in the text. At least they know this, right? They know the target aim. So as a teacher, I would then ask them, please follow the instructions very carefully, right? That's a very general kind of grammar course plan. They are more detailed grammar plan based on sketch engine and Versimit, right? But because AntConc is a relatively simple corpus tool, the range of activities are limited to include the kinds to be, and they are included in this presentation here, right? First of all, the first instruction is very important. Please work in pairs. as much as time possible here and observe the concordance line carefully. This is what I call blind observance or observation. Sorry, this is what I call blind observation. I think by the name, you can understand what I mean here. It's a kind of blind observation because they are looking for something, but they don't know what they are looking for something here. Their focus is not, their attention is not focused on one strict subject. They just want for general purpose. They are just observing the concordance line. They are trying to find relations of any kind, if possible. Sometimes they may be lost. There are some dangers, there are some threats, there are some weakness by doing so here. For those learners who are not motivated enough, for example, or who are not, who have some mixed opinions about what they are doing in the classroom with the AntConc stuff here, they may be lost. This is always possible. But they must work in pairs and observe the lines carefully. They should observe what exactly they should observe. They should look for possible similarities and patterns with if in either sides, in both sides, right? So this possible similarity, I think this is possible. Or if only you are careful with your corpus selection and assign them a corpus which they can work effectively, right? In this case, this may be a simple corpus, or this may be pre-intermediate or intermediate level of corpus, not exactly with the corpus of COCA or BNC or such general corpus. I'm not talking about these. Whenever they open this AntConc or, so sorry, for COCA or BNC corpora, there may be a chance that they may be lost in the concordance line. But with my corpora, there's no chance that they may be lost in my corpora because it's a simple corpora already, which is designed, which is fixed according to the needs of the learners. This is actually based on my empirical knowledge about the corpora and our learners here. So discuss them with your friends is yet another issue that we should be very careful at here. We should discuss, they should discuss what they see, they should be talking about, or they should be describing what they see on the picture, what kind of relation they were able to find, if any, in the classroom. Discussion of any kind is welcome at this period here, at this stage. And they should try to formulate some rules based on the examples given, working in pairs, working in groups of 4 or 5 learners, right? We can expect from them to formulate some rules. Some of those rules may be wrong, right? It is not so much important. The important thing is that they are observing, they are seeing between the lines, what's not seen. You know, in the language, we have visible side, also we have invisible side. Slowly but gradually, I believe that we should push our learners into invisible side, trying to find something, trying to use their best intuition, trying to use their best interpretation of the common structures to appear on between the concordance line, and to make a group of them, to formulate them into a perspective hypothesis here. I don't know. So observation is very important at this initial stage. More observation may bring about awareness and new patterns to be discovered. This may change from one pair group into another pair group, from one person into another person, but it may work one time, right? First time it may fail, second time it may fail. Sure that with our learners, motivated learners, it will work, right? This is a very sample finding from the AntConc page here. If you are, this is the same page with this page here, right? If you write, this is the same page here. And remember that what we did here, and let's click on you and let's make this search more focused with if you sentences here. You see that there's a very good sentence here. If we agree, I'll keep the letter. This is a perfect example for something. They may not know it. They may not see that first time here, but slowly but gradually, I believe, with your encouragement and with your facilitation and with your help, they will discover that, okay, if and present and the main clause is with the present and the subordinate clause is with, sorry, the main clause and subordinate clause, there's some difference in between here. And the first one is present, the second one is present will, sorry, future. So they should discover this, right? Instead of writing down on the blackboard, okay, the first time, remember, this is present and this is will. Let them discover these simple facts by looking at those concordance line. If we look at this concordance line, they will discover other facts as well. For example, the use of modality, models, with the if conditional here, conditional here. Let me go back. Let me go back to my lesson plan again. This is a sample page. They will be observing this page and they are trying to formulate some rule. This is the first stage of the lesson. In the second stage, right? Sorry for the dear students. It's some normally I don't use something like that. Please observe the concordance for possible. Now the second phase for possible pattern structures and concurrences for the target item. Write sample sentences from the page. They must be print. By the way, I will be sharing this document with you immediately after the webinar is over. No worry about it, right? Write sample sentences from the page. They must be principal samples. Principal samples, which I mean, samples should be arranged according to a design, at least here, right? There should be some kind of network. There should be some kind of relation, similarities. There should be some kind of invisible pattern between the concordance line. They can get an observation, trying to link some words with other words in a pair group or in a group of 4 or 5 people, right? Okay, cooperation and elaboration at this point may pay off in time, not at the necessary at the first day of the lesson time here. So sample pattern structure for both times. So I give them a little more, another help right now here. They should start with the subject pronoun you, they, he or she, and present and will. I give this information this time, right? So remember that the first part of the sentence, right, should be present. The second part, main clause, should be will or present and present. Okay, so they are alerted for some way that okay, there must be difference between the first type and the second type for some reasons. They may not yet sure about what kind of difference exists between, but they should, from the structure point of view, should be able to seize the opportunity of getting to know the difference between present will and present structures in the if conditional here. Slowly but gradually here, let them discover these. Teachers are I no more prefer teacher-fronted task and teacher-fronted classrooms, right? Stay behind. Wait them discover these simple facts about language. You'll see that in time, I think in time, they will pay off. Your efforts will pay off. I probably think that you know these such rules much better than me actually here. This is another AntConc page. If you agree, for example, you see that in my AntConc page, the same sentence is written here. I have used the same corpora here, right? This is my AntConc page, and this is the page, this is the picture of the page here. So let's continue from this place here. So in the remaining part of the lesson, for example, I simply asked them try to formulate the rules, okay, about the target grammar structure based on your observation. Okay, try study and continue observing the whole data and try to make this time real-time rules, perfect rules, the kind of rules that are complex and that work with other examples as well, right? Now, these are the real-time rules here, again, with the consultation of another corpora, another AntConc page. If you ever read this, page is the continuation of this page here. If you ever, it must be somewhere. I can find this sentence. If you ever does it. Okay. Ever come to this Christmas matter? It is the same. By the way, you are writing something on. Yes, you are writing down something here, but I'm just continuing my presentation here. I see that you have just made some very good comments here. Thank you. But you know, if Ferit Hocam give us permission, maybe we can talk all by we can talk mutually, we can face to face, or we can talk anyway. So let me go back to my original page. At this time, I told you that structure is given, right? We give the structure here, and we give them expanded context of the structures here. This is very important. Expanded context is given like this. For example, you see, if you ever come to Christmas, okay, you want expanded context, all you have to do is to click on if, and you see that we have expanded context here. Learners should get this custom of always transferring, almost consulting and referring to this expanded context whenever they are doing something on the AntConc, right? This is very important. They should go back to the expanded context and try to understand what kind of relation exists between the first and the second side of the sentences here, in both sides of the sentences anyway. So let's go back to the concordance section again, and let's go back to the lesson time here. Now the structure is given. Context, extract from the great corpus, grammar in context. This is the context, if you remember. The context is the same context as I just show you here. If you click on this, you have the old context. This is the same context, by the way, here. Let me go back to the concordance, first of all, and again, the lesson time here. From this context, we got the sentence all together in a classroom atmosphere. If you finish early, I'll buy you an ice cream, right? Now we have the structure explicitly given to our learners here. Now they know that first part is present and the main clause is future is something, is a rule. They know that this is the rule. They are trying to justify all the prior observation into a meaningful one here, right? Slow but gradually. It's a long process, I know it. If you give another chance, you won't be sorry. This is this sentence is taken from another sentence here, but almost based on the same structure here. First part present, the second one is the future tense here. If we look at other expanded context with, for example, with this one here, what happens if it doesn't work is another structure, I suppose. It's not perfectly zero structure. I know it is not something about the general rule here, but it is different, by the way. Present, it starts with the present, it ends with the present sentence here. If you look at the second sentence, again, we go back to the first sentence structure again. If it falls, the germs will spread everywhere. Again, present and future structure is given here. Normally, it must have been present and present structure, but for the reasons completely understandable, I just made the sentence here. Sorry for that. It should be normally present and present structure here, because we have already done this structure at the previous lesson here. And then, again, as a teacher, maybe you might be referring to your learners and asking some question about the AntConc interface. How many sentences start with or include the word if? Please underline. For example, this is a very general question, and there were lots of if clauses in the AntConc agreement, but this is not necessary to happen this way when you click on other words, right? There may be sometimes the search of other words may be more limited, right? Not as much as many as 3,000, sorry. So what do the sentences have in common in terms of meaning, right? You can ask this in simpler way, not exactly in this way, if they have a hard time understanding what your question is really here. How many verbs are there in a sentence you have underlined? Put a circle around each verb. Okay, good. Identify the verb tenses. This is important because structure is being built up right now here. Which verb tenses are mostly used in the main and subordinate clauses? How many different rules can you see? Complete the rule. So rule 1, if present, can, could, may, also possible modalities, and will at the second part. And rule 2 is if present and present for some reason completely or understandable for those learners now that present and present is used for different purpose here. In the second part, we have other. I know that I am running out of time. I'm going to finish in 3 more minutes. If you give me 3 more minutes, thank you. Sorry I hope that you are not bored anyway, right? So working with the AntConc and working with the corpus tool is a very entertaining activity. But my purpose right now here, I suppose, is not to entertain you, but to give you some information about what exactly we can do with corpus tools. That is why, I'm showing you lots of different instructions and so on here. You may be bored, but if you keep patient for yet another 5 minutes, I will be surprised to see one more picture, right? In that. Okay, 3 examples. You can have them write 3 examples that they can select from the AntConc page like this here. Also, I will be talking about cluster section, which is an interesting session here. Also, we can also instruct them use AntConc to explore the database, find at least 5 sentences which can be examples for the rule you have discovered. We can also give them extracurricular activities. For example, open the AntConc page with this one and try to find 5 similar examples, not similar examples. They should be belonging to one specific group of conditional rather than any example here, right? So from the grammar application side, These are the sentences not taken from corpora, but similar, very similar sentences to the corpora here. If only they make some kind of comparison and contrast between the corpora, what they find in corpora and what they find here, I think they will be able to easily complete the blank places with the right formative learners here. Also, I have included an error identification section here where they can again consult the AntConc corpora concordance sections, right? And see what is missing and what is wrong with the sentence here. Okay, if you set small goals, this is present. So we know that by the rule that it should continue like this, present or will, but there's a problem here. There's another problem here. Present is supported here. Of course, we know that conditional sentences can be used with many other different options as well. But what we are trying to do here is to focus their attention on some frequent usage patterns, right? Some frequent usage pattern is important, I think, because we have to start from somewhere, right? We need to start from somewhere and end up with a larger, with a more broad picture of the case here. But we should start as quite in line with the inductive approach. We start from a simple example. The simple example is this: if conditional, present, or will. But they can come up with more varied and more advanced level sentences later on, not specific at the beginning, right? Okay, we have match the phrases activity here, where the one part of the sentence remains here, the second part remains here. They are just trying to mix. They are just trying to match the sentences like this here. Also, we have grammar and writing section here. Please go to there's a very easy instruction here. Please go to the AntConc and click on the concordance and type if in the search box as what I have just done right here, and write down 6 good sentences for both patterns from the result, for first pattern, second pattern, or for any pattern, right? This was a very simple but example lesson plan. We can increase the effectivity, we can increase the content of this lesson to include many more details about the condition. I know it, right? But for the 15 minutes, for the 15 minutes lesson, I think what we have done here will be enough, more than enough for some teachers here, for some people here. I will be sending you some materials somehow. I don't know how, but I think Ferit Hocam will help me get across these materials to you as soon as possible after the webinar is over now. I give my place to Zehra, my research assistant, and her, I think, and I hope that she will make some cluster-based analysis, because I have run out of time. I think I don't have time to make and speak more about clusters. I think Zehra will do it. Thank you. Thank you for your collaboration, and interest into my webinar. With great respect. Thank you.
Dear Dr. Özbay, thank you so much for this presentation. And we know it very well that, corpus and, corpus tools are not just, enough to describe in, half an hour, in 1 hour. And sorry, I'm really sorry for, interrupting your presentation, but, we are also running out of time, and we have the second presenter. And the audience, if you have any questions, you can, type in the chat box, or if you wish, you can also ask these questions in person. But if Dr. Özbay allows me to ask the first question, okay? Now teachers actually are advantaged. Why I'm saying that? Because most of the course books now have PDF files, and teachers can easily convert these PDF files into text files, and they can easily analyze the reading passages, the sentence used in those course books. Dr. Özbay, what do you suggest about this? If I'm a teacher working in the secondary school or in the high school, and I have the electronic versions of those course books that I will be using in my classes, how can I benefit from those files, because they are in a way resources? So what do you suggest about that?
Thank you. Thank you for the very nice question. Thank you, Ferit Hocam. I think the challenges awaiting language teachers today are no more or no less than they were a decade ago or 2 decades ago. I think they are still facing a lot of challenges in the classroom. I know that they have technology. They got lots of tools like Corpus, like AntConc or other tools. They got lots of different technology and facilitation this way through here. Their challenges remain more, I believe, dear Hoca. First reason is that they know how to play with the technology, but our learners, I think I mentioned this before, may not be good at language, but they are perfect, even perfect at technology. So this is some kind of rivalry between the teacher and the learners. The learners are very good at technology. As a teacher, you must be also dominant in the classroom for the technology stuff here. I think that this is not very much the case for some teachers, at least. I know some very intelligent, very technology-friendly teachers around in the surrounding context. For example, I know that you are almost a professional technology person. I know it, but not all the people may be like this, right? In which case, learners seize the opportunity of playing with the course of actions the teacher has to do in the course time here. If the teacher engages in technology, dear Hoca, the learners get the power because they are more powerful in technology. So for those teachers who are not good at friendly, who are not technology friendly with the technology, the task is even more greater, dear Hoca. On the other hand, I strongly suggest good motivated teachers, strong teachers, powerful teachers to use and to incorporate very simple technology. For example, AntConc is a very simple technology, but it can create lots of effects in the classroom when you do it at the right time, with the right people, with the right motivation at the right time. Anyway, here, the use of AntConc, the use of sketch engine, the use of Verstimate, for example, these are very effective, very increased and corpus tools, and which gives you lots of different services, which gives you lots of different options to play with and to make with, right? So if I were a young teacher, I would definitely try to educate myself in digital technologies, dear Hoca, and you know this, because our learners do not have, they are not joking. They are not joking, and they are so serious. Even with very layman mode person, they can come up with a very good technology stuff here. Please try to educate yourself from the technology tool. For example, AntConc may be just one simple example for this.
Thank you so much for your answer. And I would like to share a website that I have, seen recently. It's a kind of online website which provides, an easy result, if you like, about the text that you will provide. So that maybe you can try that.
Yeah, sure.
But there are some other websites. But this is a very, if you are looking for a very quick result on the text that you are going to teach or on the structures, so it provides a quick, result regarding the sentence types, etc. And we have, I'm sorry, we have to move on to the other question or comment. And in the meantime, so there are several thank you messages, Dr. Özbay. This is from Huriye Manasoğlu, and she says, thanks a lot. There's a point I want to make. Since the concordance results include if clause type 3 sentences, hypothetical situations, if you like, as well, it seems that we need to be careful with the corpus we use. Maybe we need to check the results beforehand and choose the documents accordingly. So what can you say about this, Dr. Özbay?
Perfectly right. Thank you for this very nice comment. Or, okay, I want to present another option, if it is possible. If Huriye, the name was Huriye, okay?
Manasoğlu, yes, Huriye.
Yes. Or we should take the risks, Huriye. As language teachers, we have to learn how to take risk, meaningful and rational risk in the classroom. We should show them all types of only to expect from them to see the differences between them here, right? This is a risk, I know it. It may not work with all the learner groups here, but with any pre-intermediate or intermediate level groups, you should take some risk. You can give them all the if clause types and also give them a structure. Remember that in the course of the lesson, I gave them a structure, present if stuff here, and they should know, okay, this is a different type of structure and this is not wanted from me, this is not asked from me here, right? Let them make some choices. Okay, I define or I comment on this like this: by taking risk, these are the necessary risks. Sometimes in the classroom, language teachers may take unnecessary risk, but this is a necessary risk, I know, that you give them all the complement. Remember that, Huriye Hocam, remember that if ever they click on AntConc, COCA or BNC like Corpora, they will be lost in the data here. It becomes impossible for them to get out of this tricky situation because they have all kinds of sentences here. You cannot work with each corpora to simplify it, to include only the example that you want to convey. Give them a corpora with a broader nation, with a broader context, and simply expect them to see the differences, to tell the differences in between the two types of conditional here. This is a methodology, but I definitely agree with your side. This is also a risk that we should be very careful at taking. Thank you for the nice and important comment about it. Thank you, Hocam.
Thank you so much for your answers. And I see that there are any further questions. And we can move on to the next speaker. Just a second. I need to stop. Yeah, I need to share. Okay. Joanna, would you like to introduce our next speaker, if you wish?
Yes, I want also to thank you very much for the great presentation, such inspiring, showing us also that AntConc can be a tool not only to create interesting exercises for our students, but also a tool helping them to acquire all those digital skills as well. So there is a double function. So thank you very much once again.